For today's video, I'm going to show you 7 ways that you can use to fold your pocket squares. Let's get started with the very easiest ones first of all here. What we want to do is lay the pocket square down flat here with the front side facing up if you have a front side on your pocket square. From here, we're going to take one of our hands and we're going to make a little O or 0 here. The other hand we're going to use to pinch the top, like the middle point of the pocket square through this O here, so that we create this nice little puff pretty much. Once you've made it to this point, you can tighten up your fingers here, and from here we are going to fold this bottom part over like so, just to keep the thing in place. Once you have it like this, you can lift it up and you're ready to insert it into your pocket here. So just be gentle and place it nicely into there. Before you get the hang of it, I would say that do be a little bit careful, be very gentle when you place the pocket square into your actual pocket, as that's where it usually unravels if you don't have a lot of experience doing this. And I'm going to give you a pro tip here to use a ruler to just stuff it in. You can also consider a spoon, but no other utensils, so that's probably going to ruin the pocket squares. Anyway, I want to show you a variation on the puff. I've seen some people do the puff but in reverse, so they'll do it's the same way forward, right? You pull the puff through like this, but instead of using this end upwards, they'll turn it around and they'll use the other end here as on display. So if you want to do this, just kind of organize it nicely there, and then we fold the puff over to make it easier to put it into the pocket and stuff it down to as far as you want. And as you can see, I don't think it looks as good, but it is an alternative. Perhaps you want to switch it up a little bit every once in a while. That could be an alternative for you. Moving on from these puffy ones, I want to show you some really simple ways that you can make like standard folded pocket squares as well. So the first thing I want to show you is the classic way to do it. So we're going to start with the backside. If you have a backside facing up like this, and then from here we're going to fold it over in half from side to side. Going to give it a little bit of shake here so it's nice and even, and repeat the process one more time from side to side like this, so that we get back to a square shape here. I like to line up the edges here nicely so that it looks nice and uniform once we put it into our pockets. Pocket squares comes in a lot of different sizes. As you can see, here is one that I have and here's another one. This one I think I got for my tuxedo. It's a little bit difficult to give you like a perfect estimate of how large it should be. So what I do recommend is that you just use a ruler and just measure how tall your pocket hair is. On my blazer here, this is 10 centimeters or about 4 inches. So that means that when we fold up the pocket square here, it can't be longer than 10 centimeters or 4 inches, or it's going to get scrunched up when we put it into the pocket, right? So yeah, just measure that up. So what we're going to do here now is that we're going to fold it in so that we get beneath that little limit there, like this. And now you have a few different options. We're going to go ahead and place this end facing upright, so then you get all the little folds and texture, I guess, there. So I'm just going to fold it a little bit here at the end so it's easier to pop into the pocket. We lift it up and we are ready to insert it in here. Now, as I alluded to earlier, I wanted to give you a tip before you get comfortable popping it in there with your hand. You could use something like a spoon or a ruler or like a broken meter, I guess a 35 centimeter in this circumstance. And you can just gently manipulate it and guide it in there into your pocket as far down as you want it to go. And there we have a beautifully folded standard way of putting in a pocket square. There is an alternative way to do this as well. It's called the presidential pocket square. So what you want to do is start the same way with the backside facing up here, and again we're going to fold it over in half once, and then from side to side one more time here, like this. And at this point we're also going to go ahead and we're going to measure up how far we need to fold this in. So I'm going to do about the same here, so it's less than 4 inches on my suit. So here's the difference that comes. This time we're going to take the edge here with the fold and we're going to place that into our pocket instead of the one with all the edges on it. So what I like to do is just fold it over a little bit more so that we have a clean line going on here. And from here I'm just going to take it, lift it up again, and we are ready to insert it into our pocket. Again, you can use something to assist you until you get comfortable doing this. There we go. Presidential, looking good here. Mr. Joe Biden himself. I guess I even have the blue tie, so awesome. Moving on here. So the next step up from these it's going to be the single point folds. I was a weird kid. I like to wear, when I was like 18, I like to wear nice jackets and shirts. I was a bit of a weirdo, so this is the one that I would usually go for. Again, we're going to start with the back side here facing up. So same principle to begin with here. We're going to fold the pocket square here over in half like that from side to side. And again, we repeat the process here, folding it from side to side so that we get this nice little square to work with here. And at this point, we have the same dilemma, right, that we did with the presidential and classic fold. We can either use the end with a texture to have it sticking up from our pocket here, or we can use the edge with all the more clean edge, I guess we should say. Which one we want to use is up to you. Personally, I like the clean look a little bit more, so that's what I'm going to do for the video. But just know that using this other edge is totally fine as well. So anyway, from here, what we're going to do is that we're going to fold the edge up that we're not using to the back. I like to keep it a little bit lower than the end that is going to be showing. You don't have to do that. You can keep them all up there if you want to. I just think it looks a little bit better to keep it a little bit behind. Then from here, we're going to split the pocket square into 4 parts. We're going to fold in 1/4 of the way from both sides so that they meet in the middle here. Now again, this is going to vary depending on your jacket sizes. Perhaps your jacket is a little bit more narrow, so you need to pull this in a little bit more on each side. The most important thing is that you make sure that they're even on both sides, right? So that your point doesn't look crooked. Anyway, once you've gotten to a point where you're comfortable with, just take your pocket square here and pop it into the pocket. And again, you can use something to guide it down if you find it difficult. And there we go. Nice and beautiful. I will say though that I do probably have tools that you can use to pop the pocket square into the pocket. That is more or less more professional than this DIY, what's it called? Do-it-yourself DIY. But I mean, we work with what we have, right? Next, I want to show you the double point. That is also an easy one. So you can choose the style you want, right? Try experiment with each of these different ones from time to time. Then you can decide which one you prefer over time. I will say though that the puff ones are probably a little bit more festive. I probably wouldn't go to court with the puff in the jacket, right? Maybe a little bit too much. Anyway, so the double point, I like to do it a little bit differently. What we're going to do is that we're going to again start with the back side facing up, and from one point here we're going to fold up, but we're not going to put it down perfectly here. We're going to stagger it a little bit so that we can have those 2 points instead of just a single one. So how far you want it to go is really up to you. I think this is good, like an inch top staggered. Then from here, once we made it to this point, it is as simple as folding it in 1/4 of the way on each side, that, and then one more time 1/4 of the way, like this and like that. And I'm going to fold it up a little bit from the bottom here as well, so that it just it's easier to put it into the pocket. And lift it up, and we are now ready to insert this into our pocket. Again, I'm just going to use a little bit of a tool because this one is a little bit tricky to pop in there actually. And there we go, perfect 2-point pocket square. Now you can do both 3 and 4 points, but I think that's a little bit more advanced. I want to keep it simple for you guys so that you can start practicing with this. I've seen some videos on YouTube where they're like, yeah, 11 simple ways to make pocket squares, and then they have these really advanced ways to fold it up. These ones are the most simple ones. I will say though that there are a lot of cool ones out there. I want to show you the rose here as well, just for fun before we stop this. So for the rose, it's more similar to the puff in that you take your should we say your O here and you take the pocket square and you place it directly on top of the O. So at exactly the middle here, pop it down like that, and then we're going to start scrunching the rest of these like around in a circle. So make sure you don't let go of the inside here, just give it a grip onto it a little bit. And here we go. Once you made it to this point, grab hold of the entire roll here and just gonna shape it how you want it. There you go, there is the rose. And the next part is the most difficult, and that's going to be to get this rose safely into the pocket square without ruining it. So there we go. Just make some adjustments to it here to make it presentable for you guys, and like that. There you go. Now, like I said, this one is tricky, right? This one is more tricky. I wouldn't recommend doing this one for the first time, but once you get the hang of the other ones, this one is a really beautiful one too, right? Sadly, it doesn't smell as good as a rose. Anyway, I can make more videos like this. I can make some on ties as well. I've made a bunch on how to fold your garments, and yeah, if you like this one, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.